Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome to January 2023 Ask Me Anything. Just getting up and running here. Looks like I can hear you, see you, well, not see you. I can read your chat. So if you're here, um oh, hi, good. Thanks. I was just going to ask, would you send me a chat so make sure that that's going? Now, if you're watching, and you want to chat or leave me a message or you have a question, you will need to subscribe to send me a message. If you want to just watch, you don't need to subscribe, but you'll need to subscribe to send a message. And it's fun to watch all of you coming on. Thank you for being here. And looks like I am visible. And it sounds like you can hear me. So let's get started. It's 5 o'clock here in the Pacific Northwest. That reminds me, I wanted to check in with those of you who attend these Ask Me Anythings. Do you have a particular time of day of the week, preferred time that this works for you to participate? So if you have any requests or suggestions for future Ask Me Anything, particular time and date, let me know. I'll do my best to sort of tailor these or stagger these so that more of you who want to can participate. A little bit about how I structure these Ask Me Anything. They're really, really casual. This isn't moderated. It's just me looking at your comments and doing my best to answer your questions. And so, I always say I may not get to everyone's question, but I'll do my best. If you've submitted a question and you're noticing I'm not seeing it, you might give it a shot again in a few minutes and I might be able to see it. So again, I'll do my best, my very, very best. And a couple things too, I just wanted to share coming up that I'm very excited about in first half of 2023, which you might already be aware of. Maybe you've even signed up already, but I've got 2 past life regression workshops coming up. You can choose a January date or a February date. And this is the same workshop for past life regression that I offered last year. There may be some changes. I tend to never repeat everything all the way. I'm always adding something more, but I just bring it up because it's a really great workshop. If you have been wanting to experience past life regression and you don't feel like you're ready to jump in on a full-on private one-on-one hypnotherapeutic past life regression, this is a great place to start. And that doesn't mean it's not powerful. So I lead you through a really similar process that I would if we were working one-on-one. And so the workshop includes a preparation meditation to listen to prior to the workshop that gets your unconscious mind, gets your inner self and your higher spirit self starting to arrange the past life information and images, getting you ready to hear my voice. And those things I have found over the years are quite powerful for past life recall. So this is a Saturday morning workshop, couple 2-3 hours. We're in a group setting, but last year's workshops were really powerful, and I heard from several of you afterward. Having continued recall, having questions, that really sparking a lot of inner questioning and personal development. So I thought I would offer them again this year. So you can choose one of 2 dates. The first one is upcoming January 14th, Saturday. The second one is February 18th. So you choose one or the other. And your registration is still happening, so you're welcome to sign up. Now, if you took this last year, again, if you got a lot out of it, and I know a lot of you did, consider taking it again if you would like to have another regression experience. It's not required that you did last year's. I'll walk you through everything, but feel free to join in again if you feel called to it. The second offering this year, the first half of 2023, that I'm also very excited about is my Transformational Mentorship 6-month series. Now, it's been a couple of years since I've done this, and I had been intending to offer it yearly and just got way too busy with other classes and other client sessions, and so here we are almost 2 years later, and I am blocking out the time to offer it again. This time we're going 6 months. Last time we went for a 6-week intensive, and it was intense, and those that participated were such heroes to get through all of that. I've decided to pull it out to 6 months, add more content, add more connection, but go at a pace where things can integrate a little more deeply, and there can be opportunity for that one-on-one. So that's the first one's coming January 28th. Those are monthly meetings on Saturday mornings from January 2023 to June. It also includes a pretty intensive, well participated by me Facebook group. Whatever are my personal misgivings about Facebook, sometimes I can't deny those private Facebook group arenas are really powerful for this kind of work, to, a place where, if you have a question in between the weeks, the months that we're meeting, in between that monthly Saturday, I will be on there. There will be chats happening there, questions being answered there. Everyone in the group can participate. And I have found that to be so powerful. So all of these offerings, you can read more about them on my website, on my Instagram, and I would love for you to, if you feel called, if it feels like the right time for any of these, jump in and come with us. I'm very excited. Okay, so I feel like let's go ahead and start with questions. So I always like to consider that these virtual meetings that we're having, this Ask Me Anything format, still means we're connected. So if you have found yourself here, you're with me, I feel energetically that we're all in the same space. Therefore, I like to open these question and answer sessions with a prayer. I want to make sure all of you are grounded and in your center, and that this is a safe place. This is a learning place. This is a place for spirit to come in. Perhaps those in the afterlife who are meaningful for you, your spirit guides, your inner selves to come in. And so this is sacred space. And so for that reason, I'm going to take a moment now and just close my eyes, say a prayer aloud, and I hope that wherever you are and whatever you're doing, and for however long you'll be with us tonight, just take a moment. This won't take long, but take a moment to come into your body, switch gears. I often say, if we were having a one-on-one session, this is very similar to how I would be opening a reading with you privately. And again, it's because we're all here to get helpful, healing, loving, true messages. And in order to do that, we want to be home in our bodies. We want to be here in this moment. We want to be aware that we're sharing this as a community. So just take a moment. If you need to switch gears from your day, whatever you've been doing, take a moment and let that happen. Take a deep breath into your belly. Relax the belly, lengthen your spine, relaxing your shoulders, and check in that you're in your body with love. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to know everything. You don't have to feel perfect or great. You get to just be how you are. in this moment at this time, and we are all here supporting one another. Even if you don't know who's here, you kind of do psychically and energetically. So even though I'm the one who's you'll hear given the answers, we're all doing this. And so, whatever you hear, the answers you hear or the information you hear, if it's directed at someone else, it's also applicable to you. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. So that's something else to think about. So, coming into the body with a lot of love and presence, breathing deep, taking your awareness all the way down to your feet. Take a moment to get grounded. Take a moment to acknowledge and appreciate Mother Earth beneath your feet, being aware of her protection, of her healing, of her love and her presence, and feeling that earth energy coming up into your body, going wherever healing's needed today. That's another thing that's happening. Not only are we sharing information, but we're sharing healing. And so by stepping in and participating with us, you get to receive healing in whatever way your spirit and your soul and your body is needing it today. So you can know that even if all you're doing is listening or watching, you're also in a healing space. So whatever you've come into in this space with that wants to be transformed or balanced or eased or soothed, you can let that happen if you want. It's a safe place. So wonderful. So now that you've connected with your feet, you've connected with your body, to take a deep breath into your belly again and call your spirit in, whatever name you give to that part of you that is eternal, that is infinite, and whatever that means for you. I just want you to also be aware of that part of you that is that higher vision, full of wisdom and grace. And imagine that you're pulling that energy down through the top of your head into your heart, letting your soul fill your heart and open your heart and clear your heart. And imagine now stepping into your heart and just relaxing and receiving from your heart center. That's another way to use this Ask Me Anything in a powerful way, is to listen and receive from your heart, which is where the intelligence really lies. So now that we're all here, we're grounded, we're in our hearts. Go ahead and feel free to type in any questions you might have. Once again, if you haven't already figured it out, if you want to write a message, you do need to be subscribed. And if you haven't yet subscribed and you hit the subscribe button now to my channel, it'll take about a minute and then you can type in your question. So just about anything goes here. You can ask me about your spiritual practice, your paranormal experiences, your own pursuits around developing your own psychic abilities. Usually these Ask Me Anything meetings include a bit of some reading work. I will see if I can make some time to answer some questions that you have. If you have a psychic reading nature question, something about someone who's passed on, something about a medical intuitive issue, let's just kind of keep it open, see how long we want to go. And again, really informal. So, okay, thanks for being here. And I am, oh, here we go. Thank you, Ellen. We have a couple of questions. Oh, interesting. Okay. First question. My altar had a small unintentional fire recently. Why? Does it mean something? I would say yes. If that happened on your altar, it has meaning. Now, two ways I'll approach this. One is, in general, fire. That element, generally speaking, again, is about transformation. It's about cleaning. It's about renewal. So first of all, a fire is alarming, especially in your altar, whether it's big, large, or intentional, not intentional. But my first thought, if that were happening to me, would be to safely extinguish it and then check in with, where might I be out of balance in my own element of fire. Now, fire can can be transformation energy. It can also speak to the element of your spiritual power. Sometimes fire is described as inner fire, spiritual energy. It can be a little it can be an indication that perhaps you're running a little hot yourself. It can be some PK activity on your part. You might be ramping up your own psychic abilities a lot. And this is letting you know that's great, but remember to ground, remember to be in balance. So, those would be things I would check if it were me. Now, when I call on your guides using the energy of your first name and ask, do they have anything to add about your altar fire? And I feel like one comes forward and says, yeah, I do. Goddess energy, priestess energy, power rising, um, lightning and electricity. That then makes me wonder about your own healing abilities. Are you do you really have that ability to throw some energy? And if so, learn new and more masterful techniques around managing it. But this guide is saying, kind of showing me like if you jumped on the back of a horse and said, giddy up, and the horse went, okay, boom, and you're like, ah, that's your one of your guides is showing me that. And I feel like too, this is meant to speak about your purpose as it relates to creative expression and work and career. Um, it makes me curious if you are on a track of yourself around being counselor or teacher, and it's really, really rising up, getting strong. So, um, you also asked, you lost a good friend recently. I'm very sorry. It's hard to lose a good friend. I know. Is she okay? Um, you know, right now, if you're Ellen, if you're still listening to me, hold her in your mind. Typically, when I tune in on someone who's passed, I ask for their first name only, but in a kind of you don't need to provide her first name in this public setting, but just really hold her in your mind right now. In your mind, say her first name. The impression I get is she is a little, I know this will be a weird word, shrouded. And what does that mean? I feel like I could describe it this way, your friend's energy, emerging from a cocoon, almost as if kind of still acclimating, still I hear she has transitioned in a good way. She herself is just coming into awareness of it. And it's such a transformation that I feel like she just needs a minute. I feel perhaps that, as she feels ready to become more aware and conscious in this new afterlife state, um, there will be some things, some people and situations that are still with us here on the earth plane that will she will need some assistance to integrate. That might include some, I'll say, painful emotional healing. But what I love for your friend is that I can tell she's surrounded by so much support. So the moment she's ready for support and healing guidance, it's there for her. So she's not lost. She won't flounder. But I feel like that her passing was doesn't complete the healing story of her life. She's got a bit more to understand. I think there wasn't full understanding for her passing. Um, I would imagine perhaps as her good friend, you may not be in a lot of contact with her yet, because to me, she is still moving through that transition. Um, and maybe the sadness it's interesting. I've learned in all these years of connecting with people who have passed on. It's in it. it was interesting for me to learn years ago that dying doesn't somehow always translate into instant omnipotent knowing of everything. There can still be a path of understanding, a path of having, working through very human like emotions. And I think that's the case with your friend is, we in the same way that we all have our individual way we live in this personality in this body, we're all different. We all have our own truth. I have learned that for people who have passed on, that's true too. Now, there are, I think, some universal truths after we die. Um, but on the path to that, there seems to be many ways you can go about those immediate and mid-range after life moments. And I have been told more than once that your free will is still absolutely honored. And so if it takes you as a newly departed soul who's returned home to the spirit plane, if it takes you a while to integrate and understand your lessons and get clarity around your life experience, you're given that time. It's incredibly therapeutic, it seems, I hear. And it can be involved and it's learning and growing. I'm smiling because I feel like Ellen, this is not a message from your friend directly, but I feel like it's a female presence with her that feels like a grandmother just simply looked at me to say, tell her it's good. She's good. She's home. She's home and she's being held and she's warm and she's being nurtured. So it's almost like this grandmother figure for your friend Ellen is um, almost like a mother hen sitting on an egg and just, allowing that, your friend's being allowed to incubate a little bit more. And the emergence that I saw a minute ago, I think is ongoing. I think she's kind of breaking out from being earthbound or earth focused to this new place that she's at, but she's very warm and safe. So thanks for your question. Okie doke. Um, I'm just gonna take a minute to kinda scan what I've got here. Okay, oh, oh, this is interesting. So, um, here's the question. I was told by my Reiki practitioner that I had a leak in my root chakra. I feel now that it's catching up with my body and I'm having some symptoms. Can you give me some insight about how to heal this? Interesting question. So, I like how you worded it because in my work as a shamanic energy medicine practitioner and as a medical intuitive, that's how this works. The energy imbalance or the energy hemorrhage or the energy integrity disruption happens first in the energetic realm. And by the time it shows up as a physical symptom that you're aware of, or say a medical doctor can read, that's kind of the caboose in the world of vibrational medicine. Um, so a leak in your root chakra. Let me just take a moment. Um, I'm getting an impression for you. Root chakra leak in this case has to do with power, personal power, your own personal expression of power. So what I mean by that is, there's the power expression we have when we're, in a power arrangement with another, but then we have a power arrangement with ourselves. How do we acknowledge and utilize our own personal power? And I feel like I just heard from your root chakra, bingo. Like it's almost when I for a moment, because you've asked for a moment, if I just stand in your root chakra I wanna say your first name, but I wonder if maybe I won't say people's first names, but thanks, I can see it. So and that help so, someone's first name, I don't need last names, but, your first name, any of you, I ask for first names because that energy signature of your first name or if it's not your birth name, whatever name you call yourself is a quick key for me to get into your story. And so energetically, names count. Our names are powerful. They have a signature, and someone like me can follow it. So back to your root chakra, and the leak, so-called. I feel like when I go into your root chakra and I stand in your energetic shoes, I'm in a funhouse mirror, or I'm it's not funhouse, it's faceted. I feel like I don't know where to look. There's reflection, 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 and I feel a little confused. I feel a little bit of vertigo, um, maybe a little bit of nausea, and so I feel like you are wanting in your life right now to let's prioritize, let's valuate what we're focused on. Meaning, to me, I need some clarity. I need some refinement. I need a sharper blade in that root chakra. We've got too many things going on. So if this were me, I probably would evaluate what I'm putting my time and attention toward in my life right now and ask, do I still care about this? Um, Maybe it's time to cut it free. And cutting stuff free, you don't have to ask permission. You don't have to gift wrap it up. You get to stand in your power in your root chakra and say, you know what? I'm done. Done. Out. So, prioritizing, what do you value? And as much as possible, as soon as possible, resolving that you're only going to put time, attention, lifeblood, life energy, heart and soul and mind into those things that have high value for me. And I'm the one who gets to make that call. So, um, the leak, I was looking for the word in your question. Leak in the root chakra, I feel like it's an energy hemorrhage, but you're in control of that. So there are probably about 4 things to immediately excise out of your life, 4 obligations, relationships, promises. Guess what? We get to restate or retire our promises. That might be something to think about. Um, um, I feel like when I tune in on your physical symptoms, as soon as we plug up, you kind of clean up and rearrange your obligations and what you're putting focus on. I feel like your physical body says, I'm good. I'm good. Don't need to do anything else around that. I feel like your physical body shows me its ability to assimilate nutrients and use nutrients for its own homeostasis. Just goes right up like a cork in water. So to me, obviously, I'm not a medical doctor. However, to me, as I read you, I feel like you are that cork. It takes a lot of effort to hold a cork down, and once you release that and cut those ties, pops up. So to me, I feel like your body's saying, I have every ability to return. I'm not going to need huge intervention. I'm getting a sense of timing here. I get 4 to 6. I'm more in 4 to 8 weeks for this. And really it's a mental thing. It's a mental reassessment and a mental decision to let yourself be done, if that makes sense. I hope that it does. Thank you. That's a great question. Let's let's see. Thank you so much, everyone, for all of your questions. I'm reading to make sure I am not losing too many questions in the mix here. Oh, thank you, Ellen, for your follow-up comment. So thank you so much. That makes sense for her, your friend in spirit. She needed a mother's love. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thanks. That makes a lot of sense. Um, okay. Any messages from my spirit guides and my son who has transitioned? I am concerned about his 15-year-old daughter. Okay, wow, that's big. A son who has transitioned, and your mom and your grandma. So let's see. Please, if you're still listening, Wandering Night Owl, please hold your son in your mind, really focusing on his first name. Also, since you have concern about his daughter, please hold her in your mind as well. I feel really drawn to the daughter very quite quickly. I don't think you said it. Oh, you did. Okay, because I was gonna. You did say 15-year-old because I was getting this is not a young child. Um, I feel like right now, this would be a young person who could really benefit from opportunities to know that she is secure. I feel there is a bit of an energy in her that is feeling like her security tanks are low, and sometimes when that happens, we will respond by thinking we need to take things to fill it up, anything to fill up the void. And um, because there's a part of us that knows that really in the end we're the only ones who can fill ourselves up, the taking of things, whether it's people's energies or other people's opportunities or even other people's material objects, there's always still a hunger. Even if you were to take something, we can never really use anything that belongs to someone else, whether it's energetically or materially. It just is, it's never feeds that hunger. And I feel like this would be a young person who could be helped to understand that she's enough. She's enough. And yes, while there have been things that have happened in her life that she might not have chosen, that she doesn't need to judge. I just heard the word judgment. She doesn't need to judge. She's not guilty. Um, those are the kinds of images I'm getting. This is emotional support. This is maybe gets into a little bit of this young person's personal psychology. I feel also right in this moment, your son coming forward to say, I am present, but I'm present quietly. I'm not going to interfere. I'm not going to be not overbearing. I feel like between this father and this daughter, your son and your granddaughter, is this delicate balance of respect, as if her father's spirit in the afterlife understands that she's got to walk this path herself. And while we can support her, it's not like an initiation. She's got to grow the musculature to find this herself. But as her grandmother, you get to hold a spiritual place in her life if you want to, and if she wants to receive it, where you could unequivocally share with her your experience of faith and trust, whatever that is, and counsel her. I feel like she could use some counsel. I feel also she forgets her own beauty, um, encouraging her to begin to understand and behold herself with more beauty, and I don't just mean external beauty, learning the internal beauty. I feel like this might be a young woman who has an incredible, lyricism to her. I don't think it's expressed through the body, but I think in her thoughts, I wonder if she's someone who creatively thinks in a fluid way. So what might how might that look in the material world? She might be someone who's very good at conducting or directing or piecing together other objects of beauty or creative expression into a whole, whether that's words, whether that's visual arts. I think she has ability around both. But this would be a young woman I wouldn't just leave to her own devices, meaning, yes, of course, it's true. She's going to have to find her own way. And it is also true that she needs to know that she's got supporters. And that might go without saying, but I think that she might have made herself appear or seem unavailable to support. So you may need to be willing to extend that, even if she doesn't seem open to it. So it won't be an easy job necessarily to kind of insert yourself as a supporter, but please do. And thank you for that question. I hope that was helpful. Um, Here's a good question. Oh, there's so many good questions. Oh my God. Okay. Hi, Megan. My name is Julia. My question is, what do my guides recommend I do to get a job I am passionate about? Okay, let's see. Hang on, Julia. I want to make sure I got your name. Yes. Okay, Julia. So when you see me zoning out or you see me looking up, that for if you've had a reading with me, you know that I do this, but I hear spirit. um, I receive spirit's input kind of in these directions, and it's up here. So if you see me looking up or staring, it's because I'm getting kind of a download. And so usually, if I'm looking this way, it's spirit guides. If I'm looking this way, it's higher self and soul plan or blueprint. If I'm looking this way, it's usually deceased loved ones. So, Julia, a job you're passionate about. I'm pausing because your guides are showing me a few images. And I'm gonna kind of speak out loud. I'm talking to Julia's guides. They're showing me a turtle. Okay, doesn't mean moving. Turtle to me in my lexicon often can just mean the North American continent. Julia, your guys are saying no. Slow. Um, too slow. Too slow. Okay, so what happens, Julia, your guides are saying, is if you just let yourself jump forward at breakneck speed. So this to me is a message of, have you become too planned, too analytical, too safe, too responsible, too reliable? Is it time to just take that off and just go? I feel that's the case. To me, I feel like this is asking you to pull out the dreams from the heart and say, you know what? If not now, when? Why? What's holding me back? Um, I'm hearing you don't need any more teaching. I just heard that. You don't need another course. You don't need a certificate. You don't need permission. You kind of don't need a plan, which your guys are saying that to not have such a plan, to actually kind of hook that wagon to the star of a dream. I know that sounds corny, but They're showing me that. That's the logic. That's the reason that's needed right now. You're wanting to get some magic wand in this. So, what does that mean on a daily basis? What might you do? Your guys are saying start writing down your dreams. And they're not speaking generalized here for you. They're saying you need to see it on paper. You need to remember it. You need to remember that wonderment and that excitement. So, I feel like whatever it is you are doing and focusing on work wise and career wise, this is not that. This feels like we're going this way, off we go. And there's a lot of newness. I feel also, I'm hearing, and by the way, that's where your people are. I feel like at a soul level, your soul brothers and sisters, you find them in this new work. And it's not like if you chose to just sort of continue with whatever you're doing, it's not like that's a terribly wrong thing to do. I just would guess that you, as time goes on, you just start feeling like this is so rigid to me. I have to make myself straight and rigid to keep being a tree in this particular forest, when actually what I want to do is go over to this forest over here where the trees are dancing and everyone's laughing, and those are my people. So that's something else to think about, is that we wire ourselves in our soul plan with not only synchronicities and opportunities to find work that is passionate for us, but also what we find is our our tribe of soul, real soul connections are often there too. And I can speak to that personally. I mean, years and years and years ago, when I took a big jump and moved into this work that I now do, um, what I wasn't expecting and what was so meaningful to me is that once I did that, God, I met the most meaningful people in my life. And to this day, 20 plus years later, those are my people. It's family. My family, of course, is important, but that feeling, especially if you're working with people who you feel that soul group connection. For you, that's what's waiting. So this is a resolving to open that heart up, out, open the heart, and reacquaint yourself. What's that dream? What's the crazy thing? What would be the thing if you had no fear? What would you go do? Your guys are saying do that, and you teach others when you do that, which is another component of your value fulfillment I'm hearing this lifetime. You meant to have your vocation, your calling, teach other people by your example. That you were willing to go higher, stronger, faster, more. And that means other people watch that. So you're an inspiration. So that sounds great to me. Okay. Let's see. How are we doing? God, we are already 42 minutes into this. I'm just going to take a breath. If you need to take a breath too. Thank you again so much for all of these amazing questions. I want to say once again, if I don't get to your question, I hope you will um, join me again in one of these Ask Me Anything and ask a question. I hope I can get to you. But I feel like we can go a bit longer. So hang out. I think I'm good for another 10, 15 minutes. We'll see how I do. Okay. Okay. Hi, Megan. Patty here. My children's other parent is dying. I'm very sorry to hear that. And her illness has stalled, so we don't know how much time is left. How can I help with their grief now and later? Patty. It's interesting. The first impression I get is I read your note, your children's other parent is dying, but when you say her illness has stalled, I feel like at the higher soul level, for her, that has stalled, the path that is moving her toward death. Now, am I saying that means she's not dying? Um, what I can say is hear the word extension, significant extension. And for the express reason, I feel of working with grief while she's living. I feel at the soul level, she has chosen the role of being a healer herself. And the longer she is able to extend the illness and stay here with you and the children, the more there are opportunities, particularly for the children, to understand that path of moving toward transition. I will say the other thing I'm being shown is her physical energy is really variable. I feel while this moment, I'm hearing that her living is being extended. I do feel that it's almost like she has very little oxygen in the tank, energy in the tank. And so she would do better to have shorter interactions with loved ones, kind of just even little bite. There's something important for you all to understand. Perhaps it's apparent on your end, but I'm hearing it. She just can't go for long periods, almost as if you might think that it would be helpful for her to have someone who loves her with her, but I get the feeling she is a part of her is asking for some breaks. Maybe can she? Is it make sense? Can she be left on her own a little bit, or can she have some break? Where I just get a feeling that her nervous system and her energy makeup gets revitalized if she can have some alone time. So even if it's a very short time, I feel like that's a message. Please let them know I need some breaks. I love them all and I appreciate the assistance, but I need some breaks. I need to be able to hear the bird song myself. I need to hear my own breathing. I need to feel what this feels like. I feel like she's saying, I want to know what it feels like to be going through this. This is the only time I'm going to be doing this. And I also want to treasure this extraordinary experience. So I feel like I'm tuning in on someone who is really intending to use this as incredible spiritual growth. So time with the children, absolutely, um, but time on her own also important. I feel also there's a request from the higher inner self of this person to say, when the time comes and it is my time to go, however that occurs and in whatever timing, I want very much for all of you to let me go. She's saying, much in the same way you would all gather on a shorefront to say bon voyage if I were going on the cruise of a lifetime. She's saying that's what I want. I want to when it's time, I want to be free to go. And I and with this feels like with so much love, but almost a sense of I don't want any hangers on. Let me go and let me go with pride and power and faith and surety that when it is my time, it is a powerful move. And all of you who I will be saying one goodbye to go on my next journey, I want to be able to turn around and look at all of you, and you're all standing strong. You're all standing strong, chin up and waving. She says, please, that's how I want this to go. So, thank you for asking that question. Okay, I think that I'm going to do one more question. And oh, you're very welcome. Let's see. Anyone else who would like to ask a question? And it can be a question about anything. It doesn't have to be a reading question, just so you know. Oh, here we go. Case. Oh, okay. Tiffany, I have had a lifetime of financial struggle. Was it passed down? Was it a passed down core belief from my family? Something else? I would so love to shift this. Oh, that's such a great question. So many people um, have a lifelong relationship with growing financial abundance. And so, okay, Tiffany, let me tune in on you. I don't get a sense that this is a karmic thing, and I use that term a little loosely, meaning I don't feel like there's some sort of quote curse. Boy, I wish I could think of a better word. There's not a reason externally to you, some sort of payback that means that you're having a lifetime of financial struggle. I don't get that. In fact, I get a sense from your higher self that this lifetime was all about you stirring your own, concoction, your own potion of financial robustness and growth. Now, I love that you asked, was this a passed down core belief from family? Because I do feel that is activated. I get a sense of some belief here that says, your path, your conscious chosen path of how you want to live, how you want to work, how you want to have money come to you is perhaps in your mind a deviation from family or what you think family thinks is the right way to do things. I get some lovely opportunity, some energy around you right now that says to massage and reshape your belief around what is an okay way to grow your wealth and be completely financially solvent. You can break free. You can break out of that petri dish of however others manage their finances and go find the people, the new heroes, the new inspiration of people who do it differently. I feel like almost kind of letting yourself open your eyes or kind of remove the veil that says, this is only going to work if we do it one way and do it in this accepted way. No, 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 no. You're not going to do it that way. You're going to do it in that sort of outlier way. So it's almost like just get comfortable with that. This is if you're not currently experiencing the financial robustness that you want, the answer is not to just straighten up, button up your collar and go do it how you think everyone else is doing it, because your guides are saying that's not going to work for you. I like very much anything that you do that you originate. And so it doesn't mean that you can't work for someone else, but oh boy, you show up to me in this moment of being such an original thinker. So I keep hearing over and over again for you to find a mentor, and it doesn't I don't mean that it has to be, working with a mentor, uh, uh, though you could. I feel like just, even assemble your own board of heroes, pick living people right now who are living at the level of financial management and abundance that you want to live at, and start to let them be the foundation for your core beliefs. So yes, I think you're onto something. Breaking free of some old beliefs that you've had around money. I think that does hold you back. Um, but a belief that I feel you've manufactured that says I can't if I'm creative. Creative Being creative means I'm always going to be shaky. Being creative is very risky. Um, that's not true. My goodness, if that were true, there'd be no new businesses, no innovation. I think there might be one more thing coming from higher self for you, Tiffany. Um, I love this. I love higher inner selves. It's with so much love and some humor. I feel like your higher self is saying, and can you look in the mirror? It's not like you're new at this. It's not like you are just out of the starting gate. You've got some years on you, and your higher self means that with love. I would phrase it as you've got experience. You have every reason to understand that you're more on the masterful side of this than not. I think the suggestion to look in the mirror is to say, can you update your vision of yourself? You are still wearing the lenses of the person from before who was on shaky ground or had, newborn colt legs. That is not the case. You stand strong. And so, doing that inner work, now this might be where a coach or a mentor could be helpful for you, is helping you solidify that image of self. What are the tools, processes, transformations that need to happen so I can see myself accurately? I think that's a key here. Self perception, and updating that. And that can take some focus and discipline. And I don't mean discipline in the old conventional way, but discipline as in discipline provides focus. And I think you don't see yourself accurately. I think it's time for an update. And from that, then comes the easing up in finances. I feel you're also in just really conventional senses, perhaps cash flow or capital opportunities. You feel like the window gets closed. Like, you wait in line, wait in line, wait in line. You get to the front of the line, and they're like, "Oh, it's not for you. Close." And so I hear that is not true either. You have more than enough intelligence and innovativeness in your work and career. I get business as well. Um, there is no reason that you cannot absolutely hold your place in that realm of those that offer in the world things that people want or need. So this looks like inner work to me. And then from that inner work comes a little bit of tweaking or making some changes in the business model. Um, yeah, so you're on the right track wondering about core belief. I would keep at it. Sometimes that core belief work is a bit of an archaeological dig, which doesn't mean it has to go on forever, but it's definitely something that sometimes requires practice and practice and practice and practice, which is why it can be helpful to find an ally to speed you on that track. So that it might be a good time for that. All right, you guys, I feel like my vocal cords are winding down a bit. And so I think I will take this opportunity to thank you once again for joining me. I love doing these. I always intend to do them more and then time passes. And so thank you for coming and listening and staying and posting your questions. Um, I hope to do this again sooner than a couple times a year. I'll let you know. Again, I want to just say if you feel called to join us for the past life regression workshops, those are coming up January 14th, or you can choose the February 18th date. The transformational 6-month mentorship series starts January 28th, and all of that stuff you can find on my website or social media. I'm on Instagram mostly. I am on Facebook a bit. And now I'm going to start populating this YouTube channel with some more offerings. So this will be another outlet. All right. So if you would just hang on with me for a minute or two more, I just want you to come back to yourself. If you're like me, a bit kind of out in the ethers, getting all this great information from spirit, take a moment to come back into your body if you need to. Take a breath, maybe kind of move your body a little bit. You might not credit how much you've been in this with me if you've been watching the whole time. Um, Take a moment too, perhaps taking a breath, hands on your heart, and just take a moment to thank yourself, feeling gratitude for the ways that you offer self-care, the ways that you are loving, the ways that you have opened your heart, the ways that you have deepened your purpose, the ways that you have blessed all of us with your own unique creative expression. I just would love for you to take a moment to feel into that in your heart. And I hope the rest of your evening, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, is lovely for you, wherever that takes you. I hope that you find time to stand in the beauty and gentleness and peacefulness of your truth, speaking with love and respect to yourself and to others, and sharing your gifts with all of us. And I look forward to meeting you next time. We say that this Ask Me Anything is now complete for tonight. Thank you and good night. And I'll see you next time. Oh, have a wonderful night. Thanks for your comments. Okay, everybody. See you next time.